What if I told you that life is just a game, that the universe created us as physical manifestations of itself in order to evolve? And the name of the game is to just be highly elevated, be at your highest vibration as much as you possibly can. Welcome to Brown Girls Need Healing Too, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey of healing, transformation, and radical self love. I'm Kiana, and I'm here to help you break free from trauma, reconnect with your inner peace, and step boldly into the life you deserve. This is your space to feel seen, heard, and supported as we explore the tools, stories, and practices that will help you reclaim your power and rewrite your story. Because healing isn't just for some of us, it's for all of us, and brown girls need healing too. I want to add a disclaimer because a lot of times I say things like most people, majority of people. I I just want everybody to be clear. Like when I'm saying most people, I'm including myself in that. But it's a lesson that I've learned. So it's something that I've included myself in, but I've overcome and I've realized. So when I say most people, please don't think that I'm ever excluding myself, or I'm talking down about people. I'm not, because I've been there. I was just there. But these are life lessons that I've experienced. And the whole reason why I created this podcast was to help just shine light on places that people didn't realize needed light, in that area. So, if the name of the game is to remain highly elevated, to remain high vibes as much as possible, what causes people to fall out of that? And now I know it probably sounds crazy. Don't ever think that I'm saying the name of the game is to be happy at all times. It is to be problem free at all times. The world that we live in is not free of problems. Every day we're going to be free of problems, but it is our responsibility to remain at peace, to remain at a high vibration, no matter our external circumstance. And where a lot of people suffer is the source of most people's problems, which is their mind. It's their thoughts, it's their inner dialogue. And for a very long time, I did not realize that the person in my head was I don't want to say my greatest enemy, but homegirl wasn't helping me out. For the longest time until I started my healing journey, I was letting this negative person, this negative dialogue in my head navigate my life, dictate my life. And um I don't ever want to make it seem like it's a bad thing because we all have lessons to learn. I had a lesson to learn, and due to law of polarity, there's no way I could realize how truly powerful, how truly amazing I am if I did not have that negative inner dialogue. Now, I want to clarify, some of the most beautiful people have a negative dialogue. Some of the most amazingly talented people have a inner dialogue that is a that's not working in their benefit. And so we all have this inner dialogue, but the name of this, or the purpose of this episode, is to give you some clarity and also some tools, because the way that you talk to yourself is priceless. The way that you talk to yourself is the most important thing in life, in my opinion. It's one of the most important things in life, because how you talk to yourself is how you feel about yourself. How you feel about yourself is how you show up in the world. So, if you are listening to this episode and you suffer from um, just a negative inner dialogue, we are going to change that, and it is going to take time. It's not something that can be done overnight, but rest assured, at the end of this, you are going to be able to have some actionable steps to tackle every day and to just become more aware of your inner dialogue. The person that I am today is nowhere near the person that I was a year ago or even 5 years ago. Sometimes I don't even recognize myself because of how I show up for myself now. But for a long time, For a long time, I was coasting through life and I didn't realize that I was speaking to myself negatively. And as a person who suffered from anxiety, that talk, self talk was on 10. It was amplified. And it is such an interesting thing looking back to have anxiety, to have all these negative thoughts and doubts, and am I good enough, or I don't deserve this job, or I don't deserve this man, or I'm not worthy of being in a relationship where I'm valued, seen, or heard, or supported. I'm not worthy of friendships where I can trust, things like that. For the longest time, I had those negative self thoughts and I just didn't realize it. So, I want you to stop for a second and I want you to be quiet. If you're somewhere where there's people, there's noise, there's something, it is okay. But ask yourself, just get quiet, a little quiet. Ask yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. And then listen. I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Now, you probably still haven't had a thought, but you're listening to this, right? Okay. So if you do that more often, you are going to find that there's more and more space in between you asking yourself that and there being a thought that pops up. We have 60,000 thoughts that we think on a daily basis. And the most important thing to remember is that everything that we think is not true, even though it feels like it. Keep in mind that as humans, we are predisposed to what is called negativity bias. So we automatically lean towards the bad stuff. We automatically believe the bad stuff. For example, rumors. How do rumors get spread? Rumors are spread because one, people believe rumors, right? If somebody tells you that they saw um your friend's husband cheating on his wife, 1 out of 10, how are you gonna believe them? 10 being you absolutely believe them, 1 being you don't believe them at all. Most people believe them, and you don't even need to say anything else. All you gotta do is say you saw so and so cheating on their spouse and they believe them. The next thing you know, "Oh, yeah, you know what? The one time I was at her house, her husband looked at me and gave me an eye, so I believe it. He's a cheater," right? Um Horrible example, but you get what I'm saying. We are predisposed to being negative, and so we are predisposed to being negative with ourselves. And if you're listening to this podcast, I really, really want you to connect with your inner self and realize who the fuck you are, right? Because we weren't put on this earth to suffer. You damn sure weren't put on this earth to beat yourself down over your decisions. And so I want you to go into the next couple of days being more aware of your thought patterns. Ask yourself, like, the next time you are at work and somebody says a comment like, this is horrible work, or, I'm surprised they even hired you, right? And that phrase triggers your core wound of not feeling good enough. And then you go down a spiral of thinking to yourself, I only got this job because my mom works here, or I really wasn't good enough for this job. I don't know why they hired me. They're probably going to fire me any moment now, and I suck at this and I suck at this, and my friends don't like me, etc., etc. Stop. Stop, 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 stop. Replace all of that. Listen, listen. We are going to replace those negative thoughts. And I don't care if you feel like it's not true, because in this instance, we're going to fake it till we make it, right? This is a challenge. This is a 3-day challenge. We are going to fake it till we make it, although it's not fake. But again, because we are predisposed to a negativity bias, we believe it. But I really want to challenge you to believe the good shit. Like, you know, believing in the bad stuff it hasn't worked. It's not working for us. It feels like it's working. It allows us to self-loathe. It allows us to beat ourselves up, which somehow we feel like we deserve it. But forget that. Fuck that. No more. You don't need to beat yourself up over decisions you made. You don't need to beat yourself up about how you decide to show up in this world. You know why? Because the way that you are is exactly how you are meant to be. Now, remember, the goal of this 3-day challenge, this game that we're going to play together, is not to think less negative thoughts. That's not the goal. I don't want you to focus on that because you have to remember we are attempting to override a program that you have worked for the past 20 so years. Like it's ingrained, it's a habit at this point, and it's your personality at this point, and it takes how many days to break a habit. So don't think that we are going to go into this challenge thinking negative thoughts. No, we are going to start our days off becoming aware. Starting your day off with intentions of becoming more aware of your thoughts and replacing those negative thoughts with positive ones. So, I was at my I got a phone call from my son's school the other day. And this was following getting an email from one of my friends that worked there, and she was telling me like, "Hey, the school needs you to call them or email them to update your phone number." Excuse me. And so, I had just changed my number, so I'm like, "Oh shoot, that's cool, like I forgot to update my phone number with the school." I called the school, and the front desk lady, who oftentimes I am triggered by, because it's, yeah, she's definitely triggered me or made me feel a way about, just the things that she says. She's a employee, and she has a child that goes there, and she's one of those moms that you see and they're like, wow, you work at your kid's school, you must be really involved, you must be a good mom. So, keep that in mind. And so there have been instances with her where she said things and I felt like she was trying to say something else. So, when I called in, I'm like, hey, this is Gio's mom. I'm calling to update my phone number. And she's like, yeah, he had an accident. We were trying to call you. You didn't answer your phone. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I got a new phone number. She was like, well, it would have been nice if you updated your phone number. And immediately when she said that, internally there was a ping, like there was a ooh. And back in the day, a year ago, that comment would have sent me down a spiral of self-loathing. I'm not good enough. I'm a horrible mom. Like, why didn't I update my phone number? Something could have happened to him, and they wouldn't have been able to get a hold of me because nobody had my number. Um, I probably wouldn't show my face. I would do things to avoid being around her because then I felt like she was telling everyone that I changed my number and I didn't give it to the school. But no, not this time. Not the Kiana today. One, I acknowledged that what she said was something that I perceived to be hurtful. However, one thing that I tell myself and my kids is that there are an infinite number of possibilities, and there's no way I could know what she meant by that. And instead of being negative and leaning towards she's being shady and trying to tell me I'm a shitty mom, I decided to disregard it and say, you know what? I should have updated my phone number. That was a mistake. And now I know next time. Did she mean to call me a bad mom? No. Because did she call me a bad mom? No. She could have meant anything in the world. She could have meant anything. And there's no way that I will ever know. And if I really wanted to know, I could just ask. Instead of coming up with a story in my head that leads me down a path of self-loathing. So I'm saying all of that to say, get close with homegirl in your head, or homeboy if you're listening and you're a man. Get close to that inner dialogue and see it for what it is, because every thought that we think is not the truth. It's not factual. It's not evidence-based. It's just a thought. It's just one thought. One out of 60,000, and everything that we think isn't true. So every time you tell yourself that you're not good enough, or you're ugly, or you're fat, or your hair is thin, or your hair is dry, or your skin is dry, or your butt's flat like a pancake, or you don't deserve to be at the job that you're in, or you don't deserve the relationship that you're in, and nobody likes you, and your face is greasy, whatever. Or the person that you work with thinks you're incapable of doing your job, and your husband is going to cheat on you and leave you for somebody skinnier and much younger with less oily skin. Next time those thoughts pop up, hear them, acknowledge them for what they are, and let them go. Replace it with something else. And if it takes being Delulu, then that's exactly what we're going to do. We lie to ourselves every single day. Why not make that lie count? If you found this episode helpful, which I know you did, girl, do me a favor and share it with your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, your ex-best friend, the lady at the post office, your OBGYN, whomever. Listen, the greatest gift you can give someone is the gift of healing. And by sharing my podcast, you allow me to get this message out to people that need it, to people that need this quick little uplifting message to go on about their day and remind them of who exactly they are. So help me help others. If you're listening on Amazon or Spotify, please rate my show. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment. I definitely reply to every single one. I thank you so much for listening. I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode.